Welcome back to Eerie Files. Tonight, we are peeling back the layers on a multi-generational nightmare nestled deep in the heart of Central Texas, an area around Wimberley, right by the Blanco River. This isn't your average ghost story. This is about an entire community whose existence is a constant, tense negotiation with a creature most people claim is just a myth. Our files detail a divided dynasty, where the rules of civilization simply do not apply after dark. It's a place where the line between predator and partner has completely eroded. The man who brought us this terrifying saga is a security contractor we call Wolf. He stumbled onto this history accidentally, simply by listening to a cryptid podcast on a desolate night shift. A colleague, Jerry Hernandez, overheard the words Dogman, and his reaction was immediate and profound. Jerry leaned in and confessed, "Holy crap. We've been seeing these things on my property since I was a kid." This wasn't a confession. It was a desperate confirmation of an undeniable truth. This family, the Hernandez and Shane families, live on land that has been steeped in this terror for decades. The land itself, once a sprawling ranch, seems to possess a malignant energy, perhaps feeding the creatures that roam it. For everyone living here, the most sacred, unspoken rule is simple, yet absolute. You do not step outside after dark. This is not just old-fashioned caution. It is a mandatory decree enforced by decades of bloodshed and sacrifice. This ranch is not merely home. It is a battleground where light offers the only sanctuary. We discovered that this deep-seated fear goes back to the earliest members of their family line. The source of this terror begins with a woman named Myrtle, back in the 1930s during the Great Depression. This single, horrific event established the core rule for every generation that followed. Myrtle was outside chopping firewood with her brother, Amos, Shane's grandfather. The moment Amos saw something beyond the tree line, he froze, his mind locking onto a primal threat. He didn't try to explain. He simply initiated a desperate, silent retreat. Amos grabbed Myrtle, pulling her violently toward the house, frantically shouting, "Don't look back. Just let's go now." Myrtle, confused and angry, resisted the rough treatment. But in that moment of turning around, she witnessed the sacrifice. Their small farm dog, a loyal mutt, was bravely confronting the towering figure at the edge of the clearing. It was buying them precious seconds of escape time. Myrtle later recounted that the creature possessed the biggest, most terrifying mouth she had ever imagined, far larger than anything depicted in any book of natural history. The beast ended the confrontation instantly. It simply reached down, snatched the dog, and Myrtle heard two horrific sounds that haunt the family to this day: a tiny yelp, immediately followed by a sickening crunching pop. The dog was silenced, and the price of their safety was paid in flesh. Myrtle never fully recovered from that visceral trauma. But the history of conflict on this land extends even further back, suggesting these creatures are veterans of human interactions. Old family files speak of the vaqueros, the Mexican cowboys, who worked on the ranch decades ago. They were constantly targeted by these aggressive entities. The cowboys, being hardened men, didn't flee. They would routinely take potshots at the things, knowing they had to assert dominance. This recurring interaction is critical. It establishes a clear, learned history of violence. The creature knows exactly what a gun is. This long, violent history creates the deep divisions we find among the current generation of brothers, Andrew, Noah, and Abel. They own neighboring plots, but their philosophies on dealing with the local cryptids are violently opposed. Noah takes the hard line. He is staunchly against any form of coexistence. Noah believes these things are inherently evil, unredeemable predators. Noah believes his brother Abel is foolish, even deluded, for attempting a truce. But Abel, a man who has witnessed the best and the worst of the creatures, has a different wisdom. He insists that there are good ones and bad ones, just like in any species. For Abel, it's about survival. Dogmen are predators, but if you respect the line, they will respect yours. This perspective led Abel to his extraordinary, and dangerous, Truce. Abel's truce centered on a specific creature they named Stripes. Stripes was an accepted, if terrifying, presence on Abel's land. Abel and his wife would deliberately leave out food offerings on the property line. This was the opening move in a bizarre negotiation. The agreement, as far as Abel understood it, was a trade. When a head of cattle went missing from the ranch, Abel believed that Stripes was the culprit, and in exchange, he would find a fresh deer carcass left behind. This unsettling exchange sometimes included strange social overtures. Abel actually claims he taught Stripes how to wave, a bizarre attempt at bridging the species gap. Furthermore, the family would occasionally find unusual, man-made gifts near the home, sticks tied together with pieces of gut, arranged like strange, geometric decorations. They firmly believe these unsettling artifacts are gifts left by the Dogmen, a strange, cryptic form of tribute. But the deepest rift in the family comes from the core trauma inflicted upon Andrew, Jerry's father. To this day, Andrew maintains absolute silence about the creatures. When Andrew was a child, he was known as a dreamer, always drifting away from the house. One day, he wandered too close to the woods while playing with a juvenile creature. This smaller dogman successfully lured him into the deeper tree line, away from human sight. Andrew was then violently swiped, abducted, by an adult female dogman. The creature held him captive out in the dense woods for an unknown duration. When he finally returned, he told the terrifying story just once. After that single utterance, Andrew closed himself off forever, maintaining an absolute, terrified silence about the creatures for the rest of his life. He found only one way to cope: complete denial and profound distrust. This extreme response leads us to a highly speculative but compelling theory for Eerie Files listeners. The Wimberley area is a known hotspot for other phenomena: ghosts, UFO sightings, and general paranormal activity. What if the Dogmen are not just simple cryptids, but creatures slipping through a dimensional rift or a weak spot in reality? Andrew's abduction may not have been a traditional kidnapping, but a brief, traumatic displacement into a hostile, adjacent dimension. Imagine the mind-bending horror of that experience. It wasn't merely being taken by a monster, it was encountering something utterly alien, something non-Euclidean that defies human understanding. This would certainly explain why a simple name like Dogman still locks Andrew's throat and explains his deep, visceral hostility toward the entire species. The creatures on this land may be an invasive species from another reality entirely. Ironically, the very truce that Noah scorned ended up saving a life. Abel eventually developed a crippling dependency on alcohol after losing his first wife. He was often found drinking a fifth of whiskey a day, depressed and alone. One cold night, Abel was drinking and smoking a cigar. He passed out in his chair, leaving the lit cigar to do its deadly work. The house caught fire. Abel remembers nothing of the fire itself. His memory skips directly from passing out to waking up outside, looking up at the smoke rising from his destroyed home. Both brothers, even the cynical Noah, believed the same thing: stripes saved his life. The creature saw the fire, intervened, and physically pulled the man who showed him kindness out of the burning building. It is the ultimate paradox of the ranch's history. The creature that traumatized one brother saved the life of the other. The act of accommodation, the decision to feed the monster, paid off with a human life. And the story continues. Abel's sons have inherited this strange bond. One son even developed a relationship with a female of Stripe's next generation, ensuring the cult of acceptance survives. But sometimes, the creatures simply assert their dominance in terrifying ways. Noah tells a final story that perfectly captures the unsettling reality of their daily lives. His cousin wanted to throw a large, loud quinceanera party on the ranch. Noah reluctantly agreed, but issued a chilling warning: "We got these wolves out here." The cousins from the city didn't take him seriously. Around midnight, the loud music and party atmosphere were suddenly interrupted. The entire woods surrounding the party erupted with howls. Noah said the sound was utterly overwhelming, an echoing, monolithic chorus that sounded like 50 fully grown wolves howling at once. The music stopped. The dancing stopped. Everyone simply stood, frozen in place, listening to the primal warning. Noah seized the moment of stunned silence. Noah looked at his cousin and declared, "Okay, folks, party's over." He was secretly relieved. He could finally go to sleep. When the cousin, trembling, asked if those terrifying sounds were merely coyotes, Noah offered the only honest response he could: "You don't want to know." The party immediately packed up and fled. This is life on the ranch: constant vigilance, constant terror, and the strange knowledge that the boogeyman can be scared off, but never truly defeated. That brings us to the end of part 1, the foundation of fear, the paradox of trust, and the deep, haunting history of the Hernandez family. We've established the rules, the trauma, and the mysterious nature of these Texas Dogmen. In part 2, the encounters get much closer, much more violent, and the physical evidence left behind is undeniable. We will detail the shocking standoff involving Robbie, trapped between a dogman and a vicious bull. We'll also examine the terrifying break-in where a black dogman left a disgusting calling card, proving its physical presence beyond doubt. Join us next time on Eerie Files.